time, speed, distance road rally. The road rally is conducted in accordance with the rules, and the object, as I mentioned, is to stay on course and as close to on time as possible. You know, numbered route instructions and notes. So there's actually a priority in which to apply these. So the highest priority of all is if you come across a course marker, well, here's an example of one. Cascade marker, it says NRI 58, and it'll be on a signpost at an intersection. And so regardless of where you think you are, if you find one of these that has the Cascade initials on it and an NRI number, you execute that numbered route instruction at that point and continue on from there. 59 is next, then 60. So this would be a course correction marker. That's the highest priority. That's an emergency instruction that might be applied. So say, for example, they went out and wrote the rally a week before, they ran the guinea pig, and somewhere between the guinea pig and the night of the event, the county closed the road. So they had to shortcut the route for some reason. So there might be some emergency instructions like that. The next highest priority would be to execute a supplemental instruction given to you at a control, and that would be the example of you pull into the checkpoint, they give you the slip, and it says to continue. Those instructions, those supplemental instructions, are your next highest priority. The next highest priority is a note instruction, which we saw here in the route instructions. And basically what that means, since that's higher than numbered route instruction, and since route instructions, you can't execute two route instructions at the same reference, right? So if you come to a reference and you have a route instruction you could use, but you currently have a note in effect that could be executed at that same reference, you execute the note and keep looking for the numbered route instruction because the note has higher priority. It uses up that reference. Now you got to find another reference and hope that the note goes away because you have the same problem, right? Okay, so a note is higher than a numbered route instruction. And if you don't have, if you come to an intersection, a place to make a decision, and you don't have any of those other things, you don't have a supplemental, a note, or a number that applies at that particular point, then you follow the main road. Main road. Okay, here comes a new concept. Let's talk about where the main road is. The first idea behind main road is that there is a main road. I'm talking about only rally roads, right? So no dead ends, no driveways. There is a main road at every intersection. Now we have another new concept, which is intersections. So let's talk about what is an intersection. So 2.3. 2.3. An intersection is any joining of rally roads from which you could legally proceed in more than one direction without U-turning. A big concept here, because intersection is used a lot in the defined terms, like stop. Stop is not only an octagonal legal stop sign, it's actually the whole intersection. If you're using STOP with no quote, you're talking stop, that's a defined term. Stop is an intersection. Okay? So in this particular example, is this an intersection? Let's say you're coming from the bottom. Okay, all of these examples are you're coming from the bottom. Is this an intersection? Yes, because you could go either left or right. There are more than one legal route that you could go. Okay. Is this an intersection? Why not? It's actually more than one intersection, right? Okay. First you have, so again, you're coming from the bottom. You have the first intersection you come to, and then there's another intersection if you went straight ahead, and if you went the other direction, then there's another intersection there. So that little area is actually 3 separate intersections separated by an island. You know where the main road is because it's defined by the MRDs. MRDs. Okay. Here we go. Now we're going to get conceptual. You are going to get confused and a little overwhelmed momentarily, but don't worry about it. It'll all work out in the end. Okay? MRDs, main road determinants. We're looking in section 3 of the rule book. We've already talked about the fact that a main road exists at every intersection. You're going to know where that main road is by applying these particular rules that are in this order. And you start down the list starting at 3.1, and the one that defines just one route is the one that tells you where the main road goes, and you start at the top and you work your way down. So these are not multiple choice. You do not combine them. And you say, well, 3 of them go that way and only 1 of them goes that way, so it's the one that has the most. Nope, 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 nope. They are onto, that's the highest, toward, protection, surface, straight as possible, and leftmost. We're going to start with onto look at. So let's say that the route instruction you're looking for is R onto main. Okay. Onto says that you're going to follow the road that has the same name as the road that you were placed onto in the route instructions. So you're the car coming here down in the bottom left, you go up to the intersection and you come to a T, and there's a road sign there that identifies that road as main. So can you go R onto main at that first T intersection? Yes, yes, you go R onto main. Once you do that, you stay onto main. If you drive all over the place and you encounter main again, you're still onto main, and you're going to stay onto main until you execute a deviation. Okay, remember a deviation is a left, right, turn. Left, right, turn. Deviations have to take you off the main road. In order to even use that route instruction, it has to take you off the main road. So we're going to go R at main. That means we're going to turn right at that T. We're going to continue up that slant, and there we're going to encounter main again. We're still onto main. We're not at a T, so there's nothing to do with the next one. So we're going to continue following main by going to the right there at that next intersection. Then we'll come to the T. When we come to that T, we'll do the R at T, which means we can turn right and go down to the bottom of the screen. And as soon as we execute that R at T, we're no longer onto. So onto only lasts until you execute a deviation. Now, if the next instruction had said, cast at such and so reference, or pause at such and so reference, you could have several instructions in between where you're changing your speed or you're pausing, but you're not doing any deviations. You can keep doing those route instructions and you're still on to main until you execute a route instruction that has a deviation that takes you off the main road. So this is probably the hardest MRD concept to get. It doesn't happen very often, but when it does, it's real obvious because you'll have a route instruction that has the word onto. You see that word, perk up because something important is happening there. You're going to need to keep track of where that onto goes until you execute an NRI with a deviation, and then the onto goes away. So let's see where our little car goes. Goes up to the main, keeps following the main, and then executes the R at T. Okay, glazed over? Okay. Let's move on to the next one. Protection is, toward is the next one. It actually works the same way as onto. The only difference is that instead of being onto a road by name, you are toward a landmark. So you're looking for signs that have arrows on them. Newburgh this way, Portland that way. Let's move on to the next one, which is protection. Protection says the main road is the single road that leaves the intersection without a back-facing stop or yield sign. You do have to be able to recognize a stop sign from the back and a yield sign from the back. So in this example, the traffic coming towards you, you're coming in from the bottom, the traffic coming towards you from the top has to stop. But the traffic coming from the left does not have to stop. So there is one protected route through this intersection, and that is the route to the left. So let's see if our little car does that. Yep. You're going to spend the whole rest of this week knowing exactly where all the stop signs are. Okay. How about this one? Is there a single route leaving this intersection that is protected? The route to the right. Right. Because the traffic from the left has to stop, the traffic coming in from above has to stop. The only route that is protected, single route, is the road to the right. Okay, so the main road at this intersection goes to the right by protection. How about this one? Where's the main road? Left. So the fact that you have to stop is kind of irrelevant, right? You're coming up from the bottom, and the stop sign at your intersection doesn't play into it, because what you're looking for is, of all the choices of where I could go, is there one and only one route that doesn't have a back-facing stop or yield sign? And in this case, it's the gravel road. So in this case, you would take the gravel road to the left by protection. Now, the next concept is surface. In this case, and again, even though we're going to look specifically at surface, you start at the top. We're not onto, we're not toward. Protection, no, every route has a stop sign, so there's no single protected route. So what's next? Surface. Surface says the main road is the obvious continuation of the road with the same type of surface that you approach the intersection on. It's not so much what's right at the intersection, but it's what the obvious continuation of the road is. So in this case, you come in on a paved road, and both sides are gravel, so you don't go left or right, you continue going straight, because that's the obvious continuation of the same surface that you're on. How about that? The acute left to stay on gravel. Okay. How about this one? And go to the right. All right. How about this one? The reason why you're going to go left is because it's protected. Right? It's the only protected route. So in this case, you got to remember that even though we were sitting here talking about surface, you still have to think about them in the order that they're in, right? So you're not on to anything, you're not toward. Next is protection. Protection is the one, in this particular case, that defines the single road leaving the intersection. That's the highest rule. Next rule is straight as possible. So if you're not onto or toward, and protection doesn't define it, and surface doesn't define it, then your next choice is straight as possible, and it's the single road that continues through the intersection in the straightest. We get into whole discussions about rally protractors here, but the straightest route. And if it appears to be equally straight or no route requires less than 45, then this MRD doesn't work. So sometimes we have discussions about, well, was that intersection a straight or was it a T or whatever. We try to not make that too difficult. But basically the idea is if none of those others work, then that would be it. Okay, so which way are we going to go here and why?
Straight because it's protected.
Straight by protection, exactly. It's only one route here that is not. Okay, where's the main road here? Straightest, right? This is where we get into straightest. We're saying that is the straightest route. The last choice, assuming you've made it all the way through the list, and you're not onto, there's no protection, surface doesn't help, you can't go straight, your last choice is leftmost. Where you will most often see this is at a T, exactly in a situation like this. In this case, you pull up to a T and you don't have a route instruction that tells you what to do. None of the first 5 MRDs work for you. Where do you go? Go left. How about this one? Okay, we're not onto or toward. Does protection help us? No. Okay, how about surface? No. Can you go straight? Where are we going?